Welcome to Grow Your Inner Glow. I'm so happy that you joined us. And what I really like during these Zoom adventures, the Zoom meetings and stuff, is if there's something that really calls to you, that you're saying, yeah, I agree with that. Just to write that in the chat, or if you have any questions, go ahead and write that in the chat. And to tell you the truth, I may or may not answer them because it depends. Once I start going. Sometimes I just get on this downloaded roll and I just don't stop.
Mhm.
So, in this class, you're going to learn about what is your inner glow and why is it so important. Like in many of the emails that I sent out, I gave you all the benefits of knowing why it's important to grow your inner glow. And basically, the biggest point is that your inner glow is a reflection of your true self, of your soul, and of your heart. And that there is a difference between your heart and your soul. Like your heart is more like the human part of you. It's carried with you all your lifetimes of happiness and good relationships, and also all your lifetimes of betrayal and hardships and shutting down yourself and thinking you're not good enough. But your soul is this unbendable, unchangeable, unconditionally loving part of you that kind of disagrees, right? Because it is your light. And so when you focus on the glow, then you know what your soul feels like. And so then when you do the work to do the discovery, the self awareness, to know what your soul's money making genius is, to know what your soul purpose is, what its personality, then you've got this internal validation. So
Mm.
you don't wonder and you just kind of know, oh, yeah, that is me. And then the more you lean back, the feminine nature of the whole thing, right? The more you lean it back, lean into it and embrace it, another feminine attribute, divine feminine attribute, the more you self-validate and you build that inner confidence. And then your self-worth blossoms. And then when the the glow starts off kind of tiny, but as you grow it larger and larger, and you have more and more episodes or experiences of self validation, then you bring in what I call soul aligned affirmations that melt out anything that's resistant to your truth.
Mm.
And that's when you start to really embrace, own. Everybody talks about embracing and own, but how do you do it? This is how you embrace and own your um, inner worth, the knowing that you're valuable. And that's when you get to charge more. That's when you get to step out of your comfort zones a little bit more. And that's when you get to really believe in yourself. And there's a fearlessness that comes along.
Mm.
And the fearlessness is different than, oh, I'm going to face my fears with courage. Yeah, you need that every now and again, but that really wears you out. That implies you're resisting. And we all know what you resist persists, right? And that resist persists thing, we don't want to have that in ourselves. We want to take that away. We want to be in our flow. And so growing your inner glow is exactly how we do that. Do you have any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
Mhm.
No? What made sense for you? What rang true for you?
Oh, I just put in the chat internal validation. I like that.
Yes. And this it's so cool because then you're not relying on, well, did I do this right? Is this the right choice? Those types of things.
Hmm.
Okay, so what else do I want to say about your inner glow? Oh, the progression of your inner glow. So the more that you really recognize yourself at the soul level, and you're and when you work with me one on one, I really love to go through each of your energy centers, each of your chakra centers, and pull out the archetypes because there's a different one with a different purpose at each chakra level. And so, like, you know how so many people say, you know, you're crazy, there's too many voices inside of you. Well, yeah, there are. And the whole trick of personal work, of soul work, is to unify them into one message that supports your souls and its mission. And so, going back to the glow, as you expand it more and more and you validate your higher self parts of yourself and the lower self parts of yourself, and the lower self parts of yourself, like, um there's two of them that I really had a hard time in feeling good about embracing. And the first one was my destroyer, which
Mm.
I spoke about earlier before we started recording. Was I did to my children what was done to me, fully justified, thinking, well, this is how you raise a kid. This is, this is right. But being a commanding dictator and giving them no choice, giving them no voice is not the way to raise a child. And in fact, in my journey of self-healing, I really it took a long time to forgive myself for that because I was so crippled. And then I crippled my children. And what mother does that? What mother
We
does that?
work
But
with what we have, right? And what we know.
we work with what we have and what we know. But so the awareness that came to me as a victim, as and it depends on your soul personality type. So, like, for when you're a leader, and if you're running a business, you're head of a family, you have a sole purpose of a leader. Otherwise, you wouldn't be wanting to, have people follow you, have people buy from you. So you have the sole purpose of a leader. So when you're a leader and there is an absence of love, and or you're on the battlefield and you're trying to engage people, there's no time for the coddling and the come on baby, let's get up your gun and aim, point and shoot and kill somebody, right? Or get your hatchet out and chop off their heads. No, you've got to like raise bloody hell. And so that's the enforcer part of the leader that heart-centered women have a really hard time embracing. And so my flavor of enforcer was the destroyer. And so really admitting to myself that, yeah, I destroyed relationships was not easy. But when I did, and I just kind of accepted, yeah, I did it just like my parents did. I went from the victim, I became the victimizer. So what's my story of victorious, right? And you can't get there without forgiveness. And without the inner glow to validate that, well, the higher self of the destroyer is someone that destroys belief systems, that will stand up and fight for a cause, which is what a leader does, that will stand up and protect your family, protect yourself, the self-defense. And to have that raw spirit of force, of energy come out is a good thing in certain situations. And the other thing about higher self, lower self, in an example with the enforcer, is the principles of yin and yang, what's dark, what's light. What kills also heals, right? And so the healing part, the higher self of the destroyer is, yeah, I'm doing this for a reason. But within you, you also have the opposite capacity to care, to nurture, to hold space and be gentle. And so once I realized that, I'm like, oh, it really is a strength, not something to hide and be ashamed of. And I never would have gotten to see that if I hadn't grown my inner glow. So back to growing your inner glow. So, and as your inner glow grows even more, you can feel it pulsing. Not everyone feels it pulsing, but I feel it pulsing in my body. The people I've worked with that do it, they feel like a palpable warmth, a tingling, a kind of like a delight in your body. And I'll be taking you through that experience here shortly. Um, and and as it grows and fills your body, it raises your quote vibration. It raises your energy level so that you're at a higher vibration And of course, you get to see everything that was holding you back, and it falls off a lot
Mhm.
easier than if you're just aiming for it from your normal thinking state. Oh, I see this problem. I'm going to hack at it with my current favorite healing tool, right?
Mhm.
So this is a universal gift that your soul, that the divine has given us, so that any healing tool that you love will work a lot easier, a lot smoother, and a lot more effortlessly. Um, I really didn't seem to talk about myself, but everyone on this call already knows who I am. So I gotta admit, I am my history, but I had some. So so once it gets and fills into your entire body, then you can intend for the excess to fill into your aura around you. And you can intend that it repairs the aura, that it gives you a big, huge protective layer. And you know how so many empaths are counseled to, oh, you have to protect yourself, right? You got to put up a barrier around you.
Mhm.
Well, most of those barriers separate. And how
Mhm.
is that a spiritual principle? No, it's not. I think it's important in the beginning. But when you grow your inner glow and you strengthen your aura, and all of you is light, that becomes your power to truly believe in yourself. And so that anybody that comes in and says, well, you're not good enough,
Mhm.
or I'm going to murder you, and mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually, you can say, yeah, well, that's nice, but you're not affecting me. And you can love them anyhow.
Mhm.
And that's all from soul work. And this is the first step towards that. And so then once you've done that, you've got, like so many people say the best offense is a great, no, the best defense is the best offense. And this is that. So our light is our power. And this
I
is
love
also,
that.
yeah. Well, you do? Well, thank you.
I
What do you like
do.
about it?
Because I think the whole thing about putting something up to separate, I never thought about it that way. That's very interesting. And our light becomes our power. That makes so much sense to me.
Well, yes, yes. And you know how so many of us love to go into meditation and we don't want to come back because the physical world is, well, the meditation world is the world of the divine. It's quote the fifth dimension. And we're in the dawning of the age of Aquarius, where the fifth dimension is coming. And I truly believe, as this is why I'm teaching this, as light workers, we're here to bring that bliss into our world. And this is the first step of how to do that. So that as more and more of us create our own little pockets of heaven on earth. And this is a precursor to your soul's money making genius. So the profession in general can gain some self-respect and start charging money. And once you have self-respect and you charge money, and in my signature methodology called Activate Your Soul's Money Making Genius, right? Step two is really believing that money is love. And when money is love, we collect more money and we truly believe it. And that is power. And it's a good power because as heart centered people, we have the goodness to choose. Oh, I'm going to use it to support this cause or that cause. Right. And but so actually, this is the beginning step for helping you to believe that money is love, and helping you to believe that power is a good thing. That power is really going to help balance out this overbalanced male dominant masculine thing that's going on in the world.
So believing money is love. That's great. I've never heard of that. And can you talk more about transitioning from our light becomes our power and then how that translates into believing money is love?
Yes, I mean, that's part of my signature methodology. That's step two. So the first one is knowing your soul's personality and purpose, which produces this glow. And so your soul's personality and purpose is two steps. The reason that the purpose of your soul is one, to experience joy, and two, is how you love other people in service through your unique gifts and skills and the whole package of who you are. I mean, like how we are put together is not a mistake. And once you understand how
Mhm.
you're all put together, and like when I talk about all those voices, when they're all talking in unison, they support the purpose of your soul, which is to experience joy, which opens your light, becomes your power. And it's how you love other people. And when you're loving other people within your business, so you're loving them by helping them transform and become more of themselves, to become more empowered. And they love you back. Oh God, they appreciate you because you've basically saved their life, right? And money is a representation of that.
Mm,
So that's how
that's really
money
good.
is love. And
That's
once
really
you
good.
really embody that, and step two in my soul's money making genius process is a something really simple, a simple um exercise, self-awareness exercise that gets you to that feeling that solidifies the belief that money is love. And of course, there's resistances along the way, but once you have that glow,
Mhm,
grow your glow, right?
mhm,
Then you kind of go, oh, this is truth, and that's not. And so
mm,
the light melts the resistance.
mm.
And so that's how the money is love. That's how that works in. And then once you have those two things together, well, I guess I'm describing my whole program for you, right? So once you have those two things together, that you are love because your purpose is love and to experience joy and your glow is bright, and you can, and you feel, you have to do the work to feel safe to bring that into reality. And I've got laser quick ways to how to do that because it's very, very frustrating to know that you're something and then you can't do it. Like, hello, come on, God, give me how to do this, right? So finally you did. Um, so that becomes your gift is how you love, and most heart centered people can give all day, every day, right? And but to receive back is the hard part. But when you really realize that it's your purpose and that you're making a difference for other people, and that money is just them giving gratitude back to you, it's a lot
Mm,
easier to open up to that. And so then we've
mm,
got the invisible money is the invisible love, right? The invisible value of yourself and your service.
mhm,
And then you start collecting money because it's a representation of who you are. Then you've got not only the power of influence, but you've got the power of creation, which is money in the physical world.
wow. Money is gratitude.
Yeah, it's more than gratitude. It's appreciation. What you appreciate appreciates, right? I appreciate you.
Oh, different appreciating.
Well, think about it. What you really like in your life, you got a lot more of, right? What you really appreciate, you have more of, or don't you?
Mhm,
You know, like for me, I've got flowers and houses. I've made so much money on houses when I've been really trying to make money on businesses. And I didn't believe that. When I bought and sold houses, it's making my $250,000 a year. I
mhm,
thought so I was making it. I'm like, okay, so I appreciated that. So that gives me permission to appreciate the gifts I'm sharing, like I'm doing with you.
it's
And
beautiful.
yeah, and to like receive back, yeah, well, this is very, very valuable. And so this becomes your power, like total power. So that when you go to heal, heal your sacred relationship with power, not power over, not the masculine, but then you can say, oh wow, if I have the power to influence and it's what I love to do and I'm integrity with it, then okay, I have the power to influence, right? And if I'm receiving money, it helps them appreciate me because don't you love to appreciate other people? So you give them the gift of appreciating you, and you just collect this representation of the love that you've given. Then you've got the power to create in the world and you can support what causes you know
Mm,
that you believe in.
mm,
And then, and that's how you create your own little heaven on earth.
mm,
And, you take that excess money, like if you want to, so many heart centered people, $500,000 a year, what would I ever do with that money? Because we're pretty simple folks, right?
mhm,
Well, could we together create change on the world with just funding nonprofits, right? And funding other schools of enlightenment
mhm,
or, feed people or, whatever your particular passion is. And that's powered. So when you have all that elevated and up leveled, then your soul's money making genius is on pilot. You're in the flow,
mhm,
you're
yeah.
going and things happen.
And how do you go from feeling worthy to empowered?
Um, so when you say that, this is just a little bit of hot seat coaching, not a lot. So when you say that, so feeling worthy to me is empowered, but apparently not for you. So there's some what I call a vow in the way. And so
Mhm,
that I will never feel empowered. I will never feel worthy is not being empowered. Like I can feel worthy, but there's kind of an edge to it. Like, and you for not believing it, right? I feel worthy and for not believing it. So for whoever's around you doesn't believe that you're worthy, even though you know you are, there's still a fight
mm,
and there's still blame shame. So there's an ounce of or two of forgiveness to go on in there.
mhm,
So that once you let go of that, and you're the forgiveness queen, so you'll be able to do that pretty easy.
mhm,
Once you let go of that, then feeling worthy gives you permission to be empowered. And
mm,
and when you're empowered, it's also because you're in alignment with your soul's purpose, which triggers this glow, which is a activation from the divine. And they call it your higher power for a reason.
mhm,
It's not your, they talk about false gods, right? You don't follow your family, you follow God. And if God
mhm,
says, your soul is here to do this, that's empowerment. That's the self-validation
mm.
piece that I was talking about. Does that make better
That's
sense?
good. Feeling worthy gives you permission to be empowered. Is that what you said?
Feeling worthy gives you permission to be empowered. Yes. And so like for you, a freedom statement that would be awesome for you um is obviously you do feel worthy, right?
Mhm,
So I'm open. So write this down. A freedom statement's always open.
mhm,
We have enough time. We still have enough time. Freedom statement's always open. The blocks open you to your core of who you are. Um, so I'll give you the freedom statement, explain it to you in a second. So I'm open to believing that my worth gives me permission to take action towards my dreams and goals.
that's good.
Is that right for you?
Yeah.
And feel free to tweak it so it resonates and it's right for you because your glow goes why, right?
Yes.
And it will. So there's a difference between, yeah, that sounds right in my head, whether it feels right in my body.
Feels right.
So you're looking for that. So that happens. And so the reason I say that freedom statement's open, and you always use open, and it's like a preamble to I am,
Mm,
or you can also say I'm in the process of, or When you say I am and you don't believe it, then all you get is more resistance.
Mm,
Right? But when you open, so if you say your core going down to the bridge between heaven and earth, that will I'll be having you experience here shortly, is a column of light, a column of divine light that's from heaven and from earth that supports your soul. So that's your soul, that's your essence, that's your light is in the center. And each of your chakras tap into that. You know, you got the front side and the back side, and the vortexes, they tap right into your center. So your chakras are dynamic, um, in the moment things, and they open and close depending upon which way the wind's blowing. Oh, somebody wonderful moved into the room. I'm going to open because you feel safe. Oh,
mm,
somebody that looks dangerous. I'm going to close down and put up a wall. And that's
mm,
what chakras do. And when there's a block in there, it's like a PTSD, um, protective defense
mhm,
mechanism that shows up and says, okay, I will always. And it is like the coping mechanism that prevents you from having your light annihilated. Because
mhm,
without your light, you don't exist.
mhm,
But the truth is, you know, so many people talk about trauma in the past of how they wounded me for life, or because of you, I can't. If you were truly a victim, you would be dead. You wouldn't be here. But your light is still shining. You're still standing and loving anyhow. That's
mm,
power. It's time to claim
mhm.
it, right? Does that make
That's
sense?
it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sweet. So, so the reason that so that you've got this PTSD block in your chakra that doesn't allow in your full expression of yourself. It doesn't allow the full expression of your light out because it's protecting you from being, quote, a rejected again, or criticized, rejected, abandoned, you know, the whole list of things that turn you into a victim. And the freedom statement just kind of goes underneath and lifts it up a little bit so that your light becomes brighter. And back to the glow, your glow validates the belief in yourself that, wow, that's really a lie. Or, wow, the boogeyman is gone. There's no bear chasing me. I can let go of this. That
Mm,
happened like 40 years ago,
mhm,
right? Feels like it's
mhm,
still happening today, but no, it happened. And so that's what the freedom statement does. And the more you focus on that, the easier it is to free and release yourself from your need to
mm,
have that block in place because it's there to support you. And
mm,
when you dive into this and you start really experiencing it, you're going to finally realize that it's all love, even the nastiest things that were ever done to you.
mm,
Because without the contrast, you would never be who you are today. You would never in
mm.
the paths that you've gone today, which is, you know, old news, but a different way of looking at it. So questions, comments?
No, I'm just absorbing.
Is it a lot? No? No? Okay, good. Okay, so let's I want to just make sure that pleasure, victim, um I want to kind of before we go into what your inner glow is, I would really kind of want to like I'll tell you a little bit about myself. You know, it's a 25-year journey of being on this, you know, personal transformation, mindset healing, energy healing, personal development, personal mastery thing, journey. And definitely mind, definitely body, because I've always been a physical athlete, and I did martial arts, which is turns out after you get out of the physical world and you become a black belt, then all of a sudden it's turning into personal development. And much like what spirituality is doing, it's a very spiritual journey, knowing yourself. And so mind, body, and spirit is has been my thing. And what did I want to say? Oh, um, in the beginning, I was just peeling off, well, this emotional trigger or this belief system. And that's really, really nice, but it's really slow. It's really tedious. And so, I kept asking God, how do I do this faster, quicker, smarter, more effectively, and with less emotional trauma, right? How do I do that? And energy healing was the big piece of that, raising your vibration and this inner glow that I'm going to help you continue with is the feeling of energetic healing. And everybody has their own self healer within them. And that's what I'm about to show you. But along the ways, the blocks, the big chunks that get in your way are the higher self and lower self, and of all of the aspects of who you are. And Carolyn Miss, she beyond the 5 personalities of the soul, you have the higher self and lower self. And Carolyn Miss talks about the power archetypes. Have you heard of them?
The power what?
Archetypes.
Archetypes.
So, like the victim, the prostitute, the saboteur, and the child. And we've heard about the child because we all do inner child work. We've heard about the victim because everybody screams victim these days, right?
Right.
But none of us really like prostitute. I'm not a prostitute, but that's where you sell your self-respect,
Mm.
right? And where have you done that in your life? And what chakra is that in?
Probably the
It's,
root chakra or the.
well, I mean, it's different for everyone depending upon how you're built.
Mm.
So, like for me, mine was in the second chakra where I shapeshift, and my method of avoiding conflict, to say the least, right, was to shapeshift into be who I was supposed to be for that person so they wouldn't get mad.
Mm.
And so that's um prostituting myself, selling myself for their kindness,
Mm.
right? And so then that goes up, then the vow to be invisible and all that. So anyhow, so you take those 4 aspects of self, the victim,
Mhm.
and then those of you that are strong leaders have victimized somebody somewhere in your life, you feel bad about it, and may have vowed, I will never be that angry again. I will never be that dominating again. And so may feel very, very meek. But that, remember in the beginning, I talked about how that is also your power, right?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so the victim, victimizer to victorious. So what's your victory story? Like you've already survived because you're living and breathing, right?
Right.
So if it did never happen, right? Because like you don't have to put a boundary around it because you're like, oh yeah, well that happened, but that was a long time ago. I had no power then, but I do now. So what's next? What's my victory story? What's that look like? And it's different for everyone, but
Mm.
it's usually based on their hero's journey from victimhood to victorious. And everybody has it. Joseph Campbell, look that up. And then the child. How, I mean, when we're young and children, childlike, we don't have power, right? But we're also the most powerful person in the family, right? Think
Mhm.
about when a baby comes, what happens? People quit jobs, grandmothers come to say, you turn your whole life around, all of a sudden your grocery list has got a lot of diapers and baby food in there, right? That's and you're supporting this helpless child. That's power. That's the power of influence. It's not doing anything but going and glowing. What do they glow? Love, right?
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
as they get older, they play and they laugh and they're so innocent. And childhood, is playful. Being a child is playful. So where are you most playful in your life? And how can you expand upon that?
Mm.
1240. A real quick side note story. My brother's a Silicon Valley success, basically engineer, and he was in high management, vice president of some company that built something nerdy, right? That helped a lot of people. And so he was in charge of a creative team because he was a creative genius, right? And Silicon Valley really values creativity because that's the leading edge. That's where you make all your money. And he was telling me the other night that They have whole rooms, whole days dedicated to taking their engineers in and playing kids' games, taking them outside and encouraging them to go to the beach and play in the water. That's their
Wow.
job. Because when they come back, they're in that playful mode, which opens them up to the downloads to creativity.
Wow.
And how many like remember when we were young, you and I, we played make believe all the time.
Mhm.
Nobody plays make believe anymore.
Mm-mm.
They're make believing with they're being brainwashed with the video
Mhm.
contraptions. Right?
Mhm.
That's my thing. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I
that's
got it. That's
that's
interesting.
I'll go off on a pulpit that way. No, stop, Grace. Right? And that's one of the main reasons why I'm doing this is get this information out there. So that's the child. How it's so what's the playful story of the child and how is the child in power? Maybe you weren't empowered when maybe you were squashed, right? But if they were, but when you do the work and you can see, well, if I wasn't squashed, what was I really supposed to be? And what is a child in a power like? And how is that expressed in me? And then you
Mm,
start leaning into that more, you're more free. And then the
mm,
prostitute, if that's the self-respect, and then the saboteur is, prostitute. What does self-respect look like for me in this situation? And then
mm,
you draw an energetic boundary around that.
mm,
That takes the kick me sign off your back. And then when you go into the saboteur, the saboteur usually is in the chakra where you're the strongest, where you've got the most skills. I imagine for you it'd probably be in the heart. Really, I don't know you well enough, but I would guess it'd be somewhere in the heart, the deep feeler, the giving, caring, caretaker part of you. And but what that does is the saboteur will sabotage yourself so you don't get hurt. And what the higher self, once you've acknowledged all that, it turns into your like inner alarm clock. It's not,
mm,
it's not like your inner critic or your inner skeptic, which are two other big deals to deal with, but it's more like, this it looks like I'm about to sabotage myself.
mm,
This becomes choice, or that person looks like they're going to sabotage me. I've been there, done that. Do I want to do that again? Is this choice? And it helps spark awareness. Remember, we're in a place of choice. So how is that for you?
that's good. Um, that's good.
Do you have questions?
No, I'm still kind of back on the play and the creativity. That just amazes me, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yes. So what came to mind when you were amazed?
Just how like moving from the left brain to the right brain, basically, if you just want to put it in a simple, because they're engineers, that's what they're doing. But they're the creative team of the engineers.
Yes. Well,
Mm,
yeah, that's a whole nother discussion, but yeah, I see what you're saying. But the most powerful people are able to go from right brain to left brain.
mm,
And that's, and so like you take the brain dominant people that are pure logic, and then you take the heart center people that are pure heart. Those are two different sides of the brain.
mhm,
And on their own, they're not powerful. Or the logical people seem to have more justification for being right, but they're
mm,
not always right. They're only measuring what they can see, feel, hear, and touch. They're measuring the physical. When
mm,
most of the planet, I mean, most of existence is invisible,
mhm,
right? And so here
mhm,
we are, we're measuring the invisible and we don't trust the physical because it hurt us somehow, right? And so it's the weaving, the interaction of being able to go from right brain to left brain with choice. And that
mm.
all starts with this inner glow that we have to get started on, or you'll never have it. Been talking for 45 minutes. My God.
I love it. I'm
Okay.
enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Okay, so are you ready?
Yes,
So this
I
is
am.
meditation, and this probably for you is going to be something that you've already been doing, but just not really realizing the power of it. So go ahead and put your feet on the floor. I like to pull my buttocks cheeks apart so I can feel my sit bones.
Mhm.
And remember, we want to sink into the chair, sink into the floor so that we feel the floor supporting our feet. And maybe even like spread out your feet and feel the back of your heels and the front of your toes and the sides. And then the center in between. And then feel yourself sitting on the chair on your sit bones. And then your shoulders are over your hips. And then your chin is slightly tucked with your crown going towards the ceiling, going towards the divine. And you'll find within yourself a big, deep inner smile. And taking a deep breath in through your heart and exhale from your heart out into the world. Inhale into your heart. Exhale from your heart out into the world. Inhale into your heart and hold your breath. And as you're holding your breath, notice if you can feel your heart beating. And then go ahead and exhale. And another deep breath in, holding your breath. Notice if you can feel your heartbeat. And then go ahead and exhale. And this time, taking a deep breath and hold your breath. And as your heart beats, feel the warmth of the beat. And then go ahead and exhale. And then breathe slowly and deeply, keeping attention on your heart and your heart space. And bring to mind a time in your childhood where you felt totally happy, totally free, totally playful. And if you can't remember something in your childhood, just future pace up the timeline until you find a memory that does. And as you're breathing deeply and you're remembering that memory, feel how it felt to be happy. Were you inside? Were you outside? Were you with family? Were you with friends? Were you with nature? How were you playing? And as you remember how you were playing, if you were with people, remember the delight in their eyes, and the smell of their skin, the smell of their hair. And if you're outside, the smell of nature, the texture of the grass or the trees or the ocean or the breeze. Breathing deeply. Remember how it felt to be playful and happy. And then breathing that memory into your heart, holding your breath, feeling that memory seep into your heart space, and exhaling. Inhaling with gratefulness for that memory into your heart, feeling your heart remember those good times, and exhaling with gratefulness out to that story, out to that memory. Inhaling with gratefulness into your heart, feeling your heart beat. Exhaling. And this time, I want you to take a deep breath of gratefulness in from the divine into your heart, holding it, thanking it for this memory, and exhaling from your heart into the earth. And inhale from the earth up into your heart, holding it, feeling grateful to being able to physically experience this. Exhaling with gratitude up into the divine. Feeling the divine kiss you back. Thanking it with gratefulness for bringing you this experience. And exhaling from your heart down into the earth. And now this time I want you to inhale from the earth and the divine at the same time into your heart. And hold your breath. Feel the pulse of your heart. Feeling the delight. And go ahead and exhale out into your aura with gratefulness. Inhale from the earth, from the divine into your heart. Feeling the pulse of your heartbeat. Feeling the warmth. Feeling the delight. And exhaling with gratefulness out into your aura. And now with slow, deep breaths, I want you to imagine your heart beating and feeling the memories, the joy of this memory, the joy of divine support and earth support, spreading warmth into your heart, into your chest, allowing the feeling to expand. And knowing that your heart beats blood to every cell in your body, delivering oxygen and nutrients. Know that it also delivers this joy to every cell in your body. And that's acknowledging that in your feet, feeling the warmth, feeling the glow, feeling the delight in your feet. Just breathing deeply. Notice each beat pulsing in your feet. And so the warmth travels up, it's just around your ankles where we dance with flexibility in life. And feeling the warmth come up your lower legs, surrounding your knees. Remembering the delight, play, joy. Allowing the warmth to surround your hips. Spill into your lower pelvis. Letting go and receiving this warmth, this delight, this joy. Allowing the warmth to spread up into your lower abdomen, into your solar plexus, and meeting with your heart again. Yay! Feels so good. And allowing the warmth to shoot up over your shoulders and down your arms into your hands. Maybe your hands start to feel warm. Maybe they don't. Allowing the warmth and the delight to relax your throat, your jaw, your brain. Letting go of holding on to thoughts and feeling the warmth, the expanse of the quiet. Relaxing into the quiet and allowing gratitude to fill your crown and thank the divine. Now, bring, drop your attention back into your heart. And in your mind's eye, I want you to remember that yourself in that moment of memory, of joy, of peace, of happiness. The little girl that you were, the teenager, the young adult, whichever memory showed up. And I want you to hold her hands and look into her eyes. And what does she say to you? What does she want? And notice how she wants to play with you. Or maybe she just wants to cuddle and hug. Or maybe something different. But whatever that is, go ahead and do that. Breathing deeply. Allowing yourself to feel the glow of connection. Maybe it's faint. Maybe you can't feel it yet. But with time and with practice, you'll feel a warm glow inside. Honoring your little girl, honoring yourself, honoring your heart, honoring your soul. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Is that beautiful? How do you feel? What did you
Light
experience? Light? Did you feel
in so
warmth?
many ways. Hmm. Warmth within and light around and lighter.
Lighter.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the trick becomes is making this your everyday go-to feeling.
Hmm.
And you do that with repetitions. And so the um, the product that goes along with the product that goes along with this grow your inner glow is a sacred soul self-care set that I have on my website. And in it are 3 meditations. And the first meditation is just really getting you to feel. And then it's for people that are really brain dominant that don't feel yet. And then the
Hmm.
second one is very similar to this one.
Hmm.
And the third one is this is the money. The third one takes this feeling and you've heard of the spiritual centers, right? The Dantian, your soul, your hyphamus, your aha point, and your pineal gland.
Hmm.
And so what that does is it guides you to connect heaven and earth, and then to slowly connect with each one of those centers and grow the glow within them. And so many people, I've worked with, they're not activated at all, and many of them are disconnected. And so, with self-healing and in your mind's eye, you can intend that they're all ignited and that they're all connected and in alignment. And when you do that, your whole life changes kind of organically. And your decisions start changing, and you just kind of go, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do something. And that's without intention.
Hmm.
But I take it one step further. I don't know if I do it in that one, but you can take the symbol that you have for living your soul purpose in your business and put that in there. And you were talking about how do you become empowered?
Hmm.
That will do it.